Good evening, friends and film fans. Welcome to my car. I'm not in a cinema car park. I'm on my own drive because, well, it's not important, but I had to leg it after the film. So this is my first chance I've had to sit and reflect on it. This evening I went to see Knock at the Cabin. I keep wanting to say Knock at the Cabin Door, but it's not. It's Knock at the Cabin. I went to see that tonight. It's only my third cinema visit of 2023, which is bad form, but obviously I blame the dog. The bin diving, slipper stealing, cupboard raiding rat bag of a dog that I adopted in December. So because she has separation anxiety and barks her head off when I leave her, can't really go to the cinema at the minute. I'm contemplating trying to pass her off as some sort of support dog. Because as I've said on this channel before, there's a support dog who sits behind me during horror films and snores happily in the chair. But yeah, until such time as I was going to say until I manage to pull it off. I'm not going to really, because she's not a support dog. She'd be quite good at hoovering up the popcorn for them though. And as someone who worked in a cinema whose job it was to sweep that up, getting a Cocker Spaniel to do it would be great. Minute and a half in, haven't started talking about the film yet. So, Knock at the Cabin is the latest offering from M. Night Shyamalan, he of the big old Twisty Twist fame. I don't know what number of film this is for him now. I've seen most of his output. I don't think I've seen all of it. I think my favourite is still Signs, which I know is controversial and a little bit tainted for me now, you know, because of Mel Gibson being broadly awful and anti-Semitic, but I do love Signs. I have a lot of love for Signs. Obviously best known for The Sixth Sense, I guess. For like I say, the big old plot twists that nobody saw coming. I quite like The Village. Yeah, so he does what he does, and you either like his stuff or you don't, and some of it's pretty good and some of it's dreadful, and here we are with a new one, which is written and directed by him. He also has a random cameo in it because, like Hitchcock always used to, he does like to pop up in his own film somewhere. So, the plot of the film, the premise is that two dads and their beautiful adopted daughter are on holiday in a lovely isolated cabin. It's all very relaxed. The little girl is called Wen. She's just about to turn 8. She's a very smart kid. And then you've got Andrew, played by British actor Ben Aldridge, and you've got Eric, played by Jonathan Groff of Glee fame and of being the voice of Kristoff in Frozen fame, and also playing, I can't think of the character's name now, but he played one of the two agents in Mindhunter, which is a great series on Netflix if you haven't seen it. There's only 2 seasons of it though. It was really good. So yeah, he's got range, has Jonathan Groff, and I've got a lot of time for him. But yes, they're a gay couple. They've adopted this daughter and they're having this lovely little holiday. She's catching grasshoppers just at the front of the cabin when she is approached by a man called Leonard, played by ex-wrestler Dave Bautista. I've got a lot of time for Dave Bautista. I think he's really good in everything I've seen him in. Most famous to most for playing Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy films and other Marvel films. I think he's absolutely superb as Drax, and he's very good here as Leonard. Physically, obviously, he's a big guy and he's tattooed, but there's also a real calm about him and a real gentleness. And when you consider what unfolds, that's quite jarring with what's going on. But yeah, he approaches Wen, they chat about grasshoppers, and then he says, you know, me and my friends, we need to talk to you and your dads, and you need to make an important decision. So 4 of them rock up at the cabin door. You've got Dave Bautista's character Leonard. There is a woman called Adrian, a woman called, I want to say Sabrina, and then a guy called Redmond, played by Rupert Grint. It was nice to see Rupert Grint in something. because I haven't seen him in anything for ages. I think most of the core Potter cast never need to work again. It's one of the things I like, segue, about Daniel Radcliffe, is because he's made so much money, he can literally do whichever film project that he chooses. If someone gave him a script and it was really good, but the film had no budget and he wanted to work for free, he could. So yeah, it's the first thing I've seen Rupert Grint in. For a while he was very good. He plays a character called Redmond. At first I thought they were calling him Redman, and I'm thinking, how are man? Don't draw any more attention to the fact that he's ginger. But no, his name's in fact Redmond. And they come to the cabin and they tell Andrew and Eric and Wen that they have a decision to make. And the decision is this. They need to pick one of themselves, one of the three of them, to sacrifice. And then they must sacrifice that person, because if they don't, then there'll be an apocalypse. We're talking rising seas, plagues, famine, you know, all that biblical shiz. But it has to be one of the three of them that dies. They have to pick who dies, and they have to do the killing, or else. And that's the dilemma that these two lovely men are faced with. And of course their initial reaction is to go, well, you lot are batshit. They think it's some sort of weird suicide pact, some sort of cult, brainwashing. But these four people, who are all very different, who claim not to have known each other prior to finding each other on a message board, have all had these visions of what's to come, of, you know, planes falling out of the sky, of tsunamis, of all that sort of thing. It's quite intense. The majority of the action takes place inside the cabin. There are a few flashbacks, mainly to show you Andrew and Eric's relationship, shows them going to adopt Wen. It shows them meeting Andrew's parents and it not going particularly well. I mean, not Andrew meeting his own parents. He knows his own parents, but introducing Eric as his partner and all that sort of thing. So it's broadly the 7 of them in that cabin for most of the film. It's interestingly and mercifully short. It's only an hour and 40 minutes, which in this day and age is practically unheard of. So that appealed to me going in, that it wasn't very long. Is it good? Yeah, it's all right. It's good. It's interesting. I think the performances are good. It's an interesting premise. Do you choose to believe them? Or do you, or do you think, no, actually these 4 people are just absolutely off their box and, they're making it all up. They're all crackers. The temptation, because it is a gay couple with a daughter, the temptation is to lean towards we're being targeted because we're gay. But then they start to see evidence on the television of these things really happening. So then they've got that decision to make, that impossible decision. It's a 15 certificate. It's quite violent in places. It's a bit sweary. A lot of his other stuff has been passed as 12As. Signs was a 12A, so was The Village. It's so nerdy that I know this. I know Sixth Sense was a 15 for obvious reasons, because but the hanging and the woman in the kitchen and the girl in the still gives me the heebie-jeebies even now, and it's many, many years ago. So yeah, it's worth a watch. I don't think it's necessarily worth a trip to the cinema, unless you've got a limitless pass like I have. But it was interesting. I think his work is always interesting. Even if it's terrible, it's still worth talking about. So I would say yes, Knock at the Cabin was an interesting film. It had some very good performances, posed some very interesting questions, does make you think about what would I do if Dave Bautista rocked up at my cabin door and said I had to kill somebody, otherwise the world would end. There's something for you to ponder. I think I'm done. Thanks for listening. Katie out.